Hi, this is Simon from Little Engine. Today I want to do an experimental video just to see how fast we can apply a patch from Drupal.org and run up Drupal, test our patch. Locally I'm going to use Lando for this. Lando is a local development environment with Docker. It's not about Lando, so other tools could be used. And I've got a repository here at simesys/coredev, and this has my basic building blocks that I'm going to use for this demonstration. So what do we have in this file? We have in this repo, firstly we have a Lando file. The Lando file will run the Drupal 9 recipe, and it will expect a web root called Drupal-91x. The second thing in this repository is a git ignore file, and that will just ignore the vendor directory in this repo and any web root that we create. The third thing is this composer.json file simply gives us a Drush with all the core dependencies that Drush will need to interact with our website, and we do this separately from our Drupal core application, so that we don't change Drupal core by adding Drush to it. We just have Drush running as a separate application. And finally, I have a settings.php file, which just gives us a starting point configuration that will allow Drupal to connect to the Lando database, and then allows us to extend those settings later. So it's just a starting point for a settings.php file with all the connection details. Okay, let's clone this and get started. Okay, we're inside the repository. Open up the code with PHP Storm. So first thing we'll do is we'll build our Drush application. So in the root of the repository, we have the composer.json file. So simply run composer update, or composer install will run update for us. So you'll notice that I could commit that log file. I haven't ignored that log file, so I'll just commit this log file so that it's out of our way. Oops. Let's try that again. Okay, so that's our Drush application built. The next thing we want to do is clone Drupal and build it. So I'm here on the Drupal core project page and in the version control tab, and showing version 9.1 as the one I want to work with. Let's run git clone into the directory Drupal-91x, which is where our Lando expects our web root to be. Okay, so we now have Drupal in Drupal-91x directory. In that directory, let's run composer install, mainly to get all of obviously to build the Drupal application, but that will also bring in Drupal test packages. You can see that our git status is not clean. We don't really care about the changes to that vendor directory, so let's exclude those. I can do that. The easiest way to do that is just for this repository by editing the exclude file in the git config. and that's clean now. Okay, the next step is to set up a settings.php file. Just makes our commands a lot easier. So we'll just grab our quick start Lando settings, and in the Drupal 9 directory, we're going to put that into the default directory. Create a file called settings.php and paste into that. So after adding that settings.php file, it's showing as an untracked file in Git. So we're going to ignore this file. We'll do it the same way that we did with the vendor directory. Okay. So now we should have a site that can be connected to using Drush. Let's go back up a level and let's start the application with Lando. So Lando start is all we need for that. So Lando application has started. If we take the URL of our Lando application and load that in a browser, we should expect to see the Drupal install screen. Okay, we'll ignore, we could install Drupal this way. What we want to do is SSH into the container and install Drupal this way with Drush. So I'm inside the web root inside the container. So if I list that out, you can see in index.php. There's a vendor directory that belongs to the Drupal application that does not have Drush in it. Drush exists one level up. In its own application that has Drupal 9 built into it so that it's compatible. So we have vendor bin Drush. We want to tell it to use the default directory in case there's any doubt. We want to run the site install command and the minimal profile. Grab the password there onto the clipboard. Okay, let's give this a go. Okay, so we're logged in. So at this stage, we're logged into Drupal. We have a clean Drupal repository. Let's just check that. Oh, our installation has created a directory called sites default files. So let's also exclude that. So now we have a clean Drupal clone and we're ready to apply a patch. The patch we want to apply is this one here, add permission description to administer permissions. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and I'm going to grab the last version of this patch. It's a very simple patch. I noticed that the change is to change the administer permissions title to administer roles and permissions. So let's first go and see if we can identify this administer permissions text so that we can see the change after we apply the patch. Administration, people, permissions, administer permissions, Okay, so we'll just see, we only have one case of that text on the screen. So when we apply a patch, the way I like to do it is just to use curl to grab that patch and then pass it to git apply. So we need to be where we are here in the root of the git repository. Curl, the path to the patch, and we pipe that into git apply and make that verbose for good measure. What we want to see is applied patch cleanly, which we see there. And we can also see that our diff of the repository matches the patch. Now let's jump over to the Drupal site and see if we can see that change. And we can see that it is now changed to administer roles and permissions. To recap, we had Lando and Composer locally on our machine. In the next video, I'll demonstrate actually creating a patch or updating a patch using this same setup. Thank you.